Hello, everyone. Hey there, Taz. Yeah, we're getting back to our game development. Today, I'm going to try to fix what I broke last time. That's called the development life cycle. You know, try to make a thing, break the thing that you were trying to make, and then spend time trying to fix the thing that you were making and subsequently break something else. If you keep going, eventually the broken thing won't matter as much and you can be done. All right, let's check in with kitties real quick. We do have Ember looking out the window. Apparently she sees something. And we have Sky on the pillow. Let's see how long Ember is going to look out the window with us here. Let's get a zoom in for those looking at widescreen here. She has been very energetic today. And by that, I mean she kept trying to take my note-taking pen and pad from me. Boop. Let's see here. So last we left off, I was working on changing more objects into template objects, into resources. Because resources are easy to store in exports as well as in internal variables, because I don't have to worry that the resource file is a node or something like that. Hello, Sammy. More or less. Resources are just different things. Anyway, in the process, I've changed some stuff around, and I've discovered just some faulty elements of how I am handling the movement modifiers, which used to be called movement templates, but I can't call them movement templates if they're not actually templates. So I had to change a bunch of things and break a bunch of things to do that, and in doing so, I discovered that this didn't work, and I have yet to fix it. So I didn't necessarily break this during the stream per se, but the bug manifested then, so I probably did. Okay, so movement modifiers generally do one of two things, possibly both, but they either change the target that will be used subsequently. So maybe one of the, I call them targeting modifiers, and what those will do is say, like, aim at a random monster or aim in a random direction. They generally don't move the object. They just change its where it's going to move. And I think we're running into one of the problems there is that each of them has to have a speed, but to add to a vector, you need to have some element of speed to it. Well, it implies an element of speed. So even a normalized vector adds what amounts to 1 to the velocity. And that's not ideal. So I might be able to change that, but that's a next problem in line. But each one goes through and does its own thing. It either changes the direction in some way, or it changes the target in some way, or both. But most of them don't do both. And that target can be inherited, since one that just moves doesn't change the target. It just uses what it's given. So like I was mentioning before, you might have something that says target the player, and then the next one is turn to face the player, and the next one is move forward. Kind of a code sequence. And what I'm seeing is that some element of that is breaking down with the blobs, and I can show you where we were when we last left off. So we have one blob. Let's see if we can find him. He spawned somewhere just off the screen. There he is. Okay. So, you see, he is trying to track me, and he's moving really slowly towards me. Like, really slowly. Now I'm going to move below him. Look how he's speeding up. Look how quick he's going now. Look at that. And then I go back above him. So there is a strong downward force being applied to him. I don't know why. That's our problem. So that's what we're going to fix first. And once we've got that kind of isolated, it's a good opportunity for us to revisit how we're doing this to make sure it's going to do what we want. So let's see. So we have moved to face target. Let's... It is essentially a non-accelerating gravity that is happening here. Okay, so this is face target. I should probably call this target. Because it's not a move, it's a targeting. So there'll be some renaming that's about to happen. Throat's kind of congested. Okay. So it comes in, it has a target of 0 and 1. So just coming into move face target, we have a 0, 1, which is weird. Why is it downward already? So let's take a look at the blob object. Spawns every second. It has target player, then move face target, then move avoid monsters. So in theory, target player is part of our culprit here. Or should be. Well, this doesn't help. Huh. Okay, no, that should work. Target player, target. Yeah, yeah. It comes in. It has that target and nothing else to it. So we set the local target. Target is still null, but we're going to return that target now. So we come back out here, and target is being set. So we go in, our local target should be... Yep, don't move at all. And this is our entity here. Oh. Okay, something's going on here. We've just calculated target. Okay. Okay, we have a problem already. So, when we create the creature, we call calculate target, because we want to be able to do that for the purposes of changing position. We need to know where it's going. But every time we're calling that, we're setting the target. But in doing that, we are then going in and propagating this. We don't want it to work that way necessarily. The reason we're doing this is we're asserting that if I give it to the movement object, then all of the targets should have that target set in some fashion. So if I tell the entire movement object, you are aiming downwards and targeting the player, then all of the modifiers should obey that. But that's not the case. So what we're going to do target as a target of calculated target. We go down here. We say target is equal to calculated target. Dot copy. Just in case. Doing this as a by reference. We shouldn't need to copy it at technically a wasted bit. But I want to be careful how I pass them around because we've been burned by reference a couple of times already. Get new. Okay, this comes into our first calculate target, and we have a target of nothing. And this is where we're saying, hey, set the local target to have a target of the player. So now we come back out here, and we get calculated target again. Hey there, Pedro. Welcome. Oh, we lost a cat. Cat tree. I think I can hear a sky on the cat tree. We're working on our game. Okay, where'd the cats go? Where are our cats? Seems like they're jammed. Yeah, I think camera... Oh, wait a minute. Did Ember return there? Well, thank you, Pedro. Did Ember return? Hey there, Drew. Welcome back. She did. We're trying to solve that movement bug we were having. Okay, so this is move to face target. Our target that was passed in... Oh, that's not right. Oh, no, we're still okay. No. We need to fix that. Calculated target needs to be passed in. There we go. Oni, the cats are our companion animals and references. Because you gotta make a Nyanite catbot cute and cat-like. That cat that you can see is Ember. She is looking out a window. She can see some sort of critter. I'm coding a game, Oni. Okay. We should be Okay, so we're coming into target player. We get that. And now our local target includes the player. It is a 2D pixel Vampire Survivors style game. So swarms of monsters converging on you, and you try to wipe them out before they get you. Sometimes called a bullet heaven. Okay, so we have that. So we've calculated the target over and over. Where is that one coming from? Hey there, Michael. But why? Okay, let's once again into the breach. This is the first calculate target, which is target player. So calculated target is a nothing so far. Yeah, it's always sad when a pet passes away. Okay, so when we exit this one, we should have the target being a player. Yep, with no direction. Second one is face target. So we're going to step into this. This one is move face target. Yep. So this is, it should pivot to locate the target. So we're going to get a copy of the target. So now our local target is player with no direction. And now we're going to send that target into get direction to target. So we get our current position. Yes. Okay. So we get our current position. We get our target position. Current position is -21. So we are straight down. And our target is 0, 0. So this should be +1. I'm not sure why that is the case immediately. Shouldn't be the case immediately. That's not the kind of game we're targeting, Milton. Okay. Why is this? That's where we're getting the -1. So then the third one is move in a straight line. And at this point, our calculated target, which we're going to pass in, is player with 0, 1. So it's going to move down. So we're going to go in until we hit this again. We're not going to calculate target again. So we go in, we have, this is our move to face target. So we've already passed through the player one. We look at our target, and it's still 0, 1. Now face target should change the direction. So we go in. So we're currently facing down. We can get direction to target here. Position. Don't need current position anymore. Don't need that one. Body to move and target. Okay, we can use this. This, and we have body to move and target. Hey there, Araba. Yeah, you were in the last stream. Just about an hour ago. And Ember is dodging camera again. To target. So we're going to store off current direction still. Like so. We have a target object. We're making a Vampire Survivors style game there, Araba. We're coding it now. So we get our current direction, which is straight down. We have a current direction. If not, we're going to use the direction to target. We're going to get our angle to. So our direction to target is negative. We should be going in both negative directions there. Our angle to is null. Okay, that's weird. Oh, sorry. Mike didn't unmute. Okay, the target. Okay. So 0, 1. And we have a direction to target, which is right and up. Angle 2. Okay. It is within a 180-degree turn, so we set it. We set our local target. Yeah. So new direction. Oh, but it's got to do that every time. It's doing that every time. It shouldn't be. Hey there, King. Blob's movement now. First, we must find the blob. All right, all right. What's going on? Camera half distance. Can I see it now? It's moving down. Okay, we've reversed it. Hey there, Philip. Welcome. And I'm doing okay, King. Doing okay. We're trying to fix a set of problems that we uncovered slash caused last time. I think part of the problem here is we're moving and the target wouldn't normally change. So this is we're calling calculate target. This is non-moving and it's a separate pattern. But I wonder if we need to do the same thing here, is if move should return a new target. Because we are changing the target that is returning each time. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We need to go through all of our movement modifiers and find the ones with move functions. Okay, so we go into movement template. Now we go into movement modifier. And this is going to return a target, which will make this complain. It's going to return target.copy by default. It's going to return local target.copy. So then we need to go into each one of them, find the ones that have move, and update that. Home to target. Local target is updating. That needs to be true. I don't know how I missed that. Maybe I undid it accidentally. But anyway. I'm going to have to fix the movement targeting thing. Hey there, Amancio. Welcome back. Okay. Straight home. Move base target. I'm gonna... Oh. So it's updating the direction that's coming in. And each one of them should always respect the direction that comes in some fashion. Move straight line will, move avoid monsters will. And if it was move random target and later in the pattern, that would just break the pattern anyway. You wouldn't want to do that. Okay. So if we look at move avoid monsters, okay, we should be updating the local target during this process. Target.copy. And don't worry if I seem and yes, Amancia, I do remember you. You were in the last stream. I think I may have answered that, but hello. You were in the last coding stream. If I do seem distracted or do something like what I just did, I do get distracted by the code. I do get focused. I will still try to answer questions or chat, so feel free. And we've gone to movement. Our problem is we're preserving target. I think we need a set target function. Like a force target function. Because I want to be able to just set the target to a value without having all of the movement modifiers forced to have it. This isn't correct. Okay, so we know one of our problem zones here. Position. We have create mob movement and mob factory. Mint chocolate chips and marshmallows. In what combination? Like, is it just a mixed bowl of, like, small marshmallows and little chocolate chips? Or something else? Create a mob movement. Huh. Interesting. Well, thank you, Rizina. Rizana? Rizana. The upper one is sherbet, and the lower one is sky. Let's see how many of them we can spot here. We only have the 2 visible. 3 of them are off camera. Ember's getting a drink. It's not clear where Sammy is. Sometimes she's behind the curtain by the window. And Mason could be on the bed, under the bed, just about anywhere. Okay, we're just instantiating them. Right there. So then go back into our spawner. This is one of the things that I want to be able to change with templates, is I want to be able to say, hey, here's a movement template, just instantiate it. And that would create the movement modifiers and the movement object, that kind of thing. Okay. So we do mob bodies, we calculate target. This is going to generate an initial target object. Okay. Yes, we need some sort of set the target on movement. I can't help but think we'd have a way to simplify this. Ideally, we would have a duplicate movement method where we create a copy of the existing movement and attach that to subsequent mobs. So instead of saying like, oh, create mob movement on the subsequent ones, the first one gets this set on it, done on it, and then the later ones have the movement created and duplicated. Well, duplicated and attached to them. But that's a problem because the movement modifiers need to be created as actual clones of each other. They need to be the same type. So for the time being, this should still work if I make things respect what they receive. Because we'll still get the target object correctly. If it's a random mob, we'll have a random mob come in. If it's targeting the player, it will target the player. And the random mob will remember what the target it receives is. So this should still work. Hey, Sammy. Hey. Sammy has come to sit with me. Sammy is a little tuxedo cat. She's my second smallest cat. She's a little smaller than the one you can see there on camera. And she's one of the 2 that likes to sit on my lap. So she has come for head scratches and back scratches, ideally simultaneously, and without end. Otherwise she'll look at me reproachfully. Reproachfully. Okay. So we calculate the initial target. This gives us a target. We set the target, and then we call calculate target on that one. And I think setting the target is our problem space here. This part. So we need a different set target method. Let's go into movement. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're going to call it... I don't want it to be set target. That has implications. No, we're going to call it set target. It does technically have implications, but... I'm going to assert that internally the movement object can be adjusted, or the target object can be adjusted however we want. It's equal to new target, a dot copy. And then we go into our spawner, and we have movement dot set target as target. Okay, we pass that in, and then each step in the movement move we can go in and say target is equal to this. Okay, what's missing? Tab out, go to remote tree, game, player, body, camera, tap zoom, back in. Okay, it's just moving in a straight line. That's not right. So now we need to go through our movement modifiers. So we're going to go into movement move here. Okay, so we go into the first one. Only one blob exists, so we come in and our target should be... No. That's not right. Oh, no, we've calculated target. Okay, so we have the player object, and it says it's down from that. We are going to go to our next movement modifier, which is now... That first one was target player, so we're going to look at target. It makes a duplicate. Okay, so target player has negated the vector. But that it's not supposed to. Let's do target player. Equal target. target direction. Okay, it respects the direction because it's not going to change it. Then we're going to look at turn face player, move face target. It duplicates the target object, and then it changes the direction. I think that's a better pattern, actually. Target player. It's equal to target.copy. We duplicate the target, and then we change what we want to change. If I change both things, I don't need to duplicate the target. I can just set whatever I want to set on local target. So then we should have a move straight line. So this comes in and says, I have a target object. And we say local target is equal to target.copy. And then we return the local target. Okay. More cleaning, more cleaning. Okay, we come in after calculating the target, which says we're moving down. We have now set the player to our target. This was target player. Still negated it. Target player is going to receive the target. We have no target and we have no direction. So we come in and we say we are duplicating it, but we're setting the target object to the player. We have the player. And we have no movement. Okay. Yeah, we have no direction. Let's check this movement modifier. Template movement modifier. Target is target.new, so it should be a 0, 0. Go in. Okay. This is the next movement after. Our target is currently... Okay, this was face target. It's looking down. I think this is part of where I'm attaching the movement. It's still more reason why I should do the movement calculations after I have put them in the world. Like, fully after that. They should already be in the world when that happens. It's kind of weird. We'll see. Okay, so this is after move face target, and now we're going to move straight line. That was move face target. Now we're looking at target. What? It comes in again. Okay. The target we have set is player move down. This is going to be set player as target, which shouldn't change anything. Yep, same entity, probably. Now we said turn to face the player. The target direction should be different now. Okay, it's facing down. And now we have move straight line. And we move its position. So our target is once again straight down. So that's player, change facing. So we look at the facing again. Let's actually, here, let's move a little to the side. And it's still moving down. Okay, so we go in, we pause it, we lock here, unpause. So target is 0, 1. We are now going to change it to lock player, and we're going to change it to turn to face the player. And we go in and say, okay, turn face player isn't changing anything. It's not doing anything because calculate target is, that's not running. We still need to make sure that we're updating this stuff. Hey, we're going to make a new function on this one. And this needs body to move and target. It's going to return a target. It doesn't need to return a target. That. This. There, and you out of there. This. Be it. Place that. Respects the target coming in, but it adjusts it based on the turn. Okay, this pattern will work. For reference, every time I touch one of these bubbles, it's a testing logic here that increases the well, I think it's increasing the speed of them. It might not be. I haven't set that, but it is a... It sets the initial spawner. We can see that they are slow-moving homing projectiles right now. Very slow. Okay, there's a flaw. So the target object might have vanished by the time we get here. That is a dead value. If we look at target, I don't have it open. Target. If we get the object and it's not valid, we return null. So we need to make sure that any method that relies on aiming at the target checks to see if it's null. you have to do this kind of check. If it's an entity in the world, you should do this kind of check in Godot engine, because if you have a reference ID to an entity in the world that has been removed, just checking it outside of calling into this function will cause an error. So using it as an operator, there's some sort of like wrapper around any sort of interaction with it. So if target player, that gets the player. There will always be some sort of player. We may run into some problem with that, but we'll see. So we need to go random monster. This has a null check, where it will try to acquire a new target. Random direction doesn't care. Target direction is okay. We're not using move home to target anymore. So face target, we're going to have is if local target object. Wait. So we come into this body to move and target. We have a new target coming in. We need to use target.target direction. We are respecting the target that comes in. Even if the target changes, we don't want to keep it around. Yeah, that's so okay. We respect the target that is passed into this. Actually, no. We have a target. So I'm going to say local. Same with this. Okay. We change target direction. We need to take the target in. This is the new one. Because we don't want to be replicating this constantly. Affect whatever comes in. Update the local target direction. And we remove update direction. Local target's target direction is updated already by get direction to target. So we don't actually need that. because this is redundant otherwise. You know what? No, I liked that better. We're not going to set that here. We're going to let that be set here because we're calling get the direction and we're setting the direction to get the direction. Okay. Did I break it? I may have broken it. Oh, no, there they are. There he is. Chasing, staying about the same speed, Excellent. Okay, I think we fixed that. And in doing so, hey there, anything? In fixing that, I think we've got our movement patterns cleaned up. Now we can move on to movement modifier templates. We are making a game, anything. We are working on currently the core systems, like the low-level systems of a Vampire Survivor style game. Let's see if I go into spawner. Should be able to remove this limiter. Less than 300. All right, anything. Thanks for swinging through. Greater than or equal to 300, we stop. Otherwise, we try to create bodies. Okay. We get multiple blobs spawning again. We're going to touch a bubble, and we're going to try to remove a mob. Actually, we need to keep that as we limit 1 here. So we go find a bubble. So we'll start firing homing mice here. Okay. We're going to move this declaration up here, and we're going to just set it right here. With local target dot target object, then do this. We're going to initialize it to local target dot target direction, and we're going to return. Just take what you had if you just take what you had if you can't find it again. Okay, they immediately just twitched upwards. That's weird. This is a blob converging on target here. If there's no target, it wouldn't update it, so it takes whatever it receives. So our pertinent function here this function, though, it's going to return the existing direction after each pass through. Oh, okay. So with our targeting here, for our homing mouse, our pattern of movement is random direction, random mob, base target. So target random mob. So this is, it loses its mob target. So it's going to go in a random direction after that happens. Because random direction had precedence. I think that's okay. Okay. So we have the new movement logic for making them appear. Now what I'd like to do is start encapsulating them. First, we're going to get base target, and we're going to move it into targeting. No. Base target is movement. It's weird, but it's movement. Is it? No, it's targeting. It's definitely targeting. Just like random direction and whatnot, it asserts a direction, not actual movement. It's kind of an edge case, I think. But it doesn't move forward is the thing. It doesn't change the target position. It changes facing. And that's pretty much what the these are for. Either they assert a value, well, they all assert a value into it. Okay, so this is a movement template. We are going to rename this to a movement modifier template. So, it's a long name. I don't like it, but, you know, what are you going to do? It's accurate. So then we're going to go up to here to move avoid monsters. Okay, this is an instantiation of a movement modifier template. So So it goes move avoid monsters at 48. Then let's see. We need move avoid monsters. We may need face target. Extend movement modifier template. It's a movement modifier template. Movement modifier template. There we go. Target, face, target. Double check that we have that pattern the same. Yeah. So target, face, target has this scene as a movement modifier, and it has no speed, because you wouldn't have a speed on these. Then we're going to have a new resource, a movement modifier template. It is going to be called target player underscore player. Target player, take that, it's also a 0. Now we're going to make a movement template now. It's going to extend resource. Where did it end up? Oh. Down here, we need script, inherits resource. It's going to be called movement template. A lot of this is just stream of consciousness of me coding. But again, if you want to say anything or ask any questions or just chat, feel free. The template has at export movement modifier templates as array of movement modifier template. Bar. Brandon, we are coding a game. We're using the Godot engine to make a Vampire Survivor style game. We are trying to be very methodical about it. Okay, so a movement template Godot engine is a game development tool. Ow. Godot engine is a kind of a framework for making a game. So we've got, little animated sprite moving around. We should be able... There he is. And we have our little test monster here. The number in the upper left is the number of test monsters I've created. We're just going to touch this bubble so that our test weapon appears. Little wind-up mice that home in on a blob. Yes, this series of streams, if you can see it in the cell phone or in the phone view, this series of streams, each time we do it, we code for a few hours, and I've made all of this code and the current form of the sprites that you can see since then. We've just been working on it bit by bit, learning the way to code in this and whatnot. Well, I appreciate that, Brandon. Okay, so now we have a movement template object. And we're going to go into... Where should this live? I feel like it should be in a mob template. If our mob body, which is a packed scene, we can't dodge that. But we could export our movement template as a movement template. And then now, if we look at things like the player, we can have a movement template object there. Template. These have no movement templates. I'm going to have a movement template that is nothing. Same with blob body. Okay. So I can now go in here and I'm going to create a resource, which is a movement template. So monster blob movement. Yeah. So blob movement is going to have an array of movement modifier templates, which we have just created. So we're going to say target player is going to target player. It is going to face that target. And then we're going to have, where is it? Move, avoid monsters. Now, this one is probably going to change in the future here because its movement rate is determined by the individual creature. I might be able to accomplish what I want to do with a speed modifier on the mob. But we'll see. So then monster blob as monster blob movement. And what this is going to let us do is move the movement logic out of the spawner. We're going to be able to add that to the mob body, potentially through a movement factory, since that's kind of the pattern that we're working on here, or that we're using in the terminology. And I don't think I did, but hello, Brandon and Dr. Marcus. Welcome to the broadcast. If you're new to the stream, the cat that you can see on the camera is Sherbet. Ember's tail is moving my mouse. Ember is on my lap. She's one of my other cats. The black and white one is Sammy. And you can't see the largest of them, a big fluffy gray and white one named Sky. And the second largest you can't see, who is tan and white, just like Sherbet, but more symmetrical and less blotchy than Sherbet is. Okay, mobs have movement templates now, which means we can create one for the homing mouse. But yeah, this one potentially needs to be different. We're going to say that's 96. And then if we go to the blob body, I'm going to say a movement template. It's going to have at export our speed as a float. It's equal to 1 by default. So then we're going to go up into our movement template for our blob, and we're going to say its speed is actually 0.5. This is going to go in and say, I can generate this by default. So I should be able to regenerate the default movement behavior of an entity using its movement template. So now we have to make that actually work. I think in the same vein, I can then make something that duplicates movement. But for now, we're just going to make a movement factory. Yeah, project settings, auto-loaded values. We're going to call it a movement factory. We're going to add it, and it's going to be movement factory, and it's going to live in globals like the rest of them. Open that. Create it. Sorry, globals hiding. There we go. Movement factory. Okay. Function create movement template as a movement template. Thing currently pass. It's going to return a movement object. So our movement as a movement. It's going to return movement. Hey, that'll keep the function from going haywire there. Okay. It's going to be our movement scene. It's a packed scene. And then we're going to go into our game code. Am I hiding that game? Movement scene. Okay, we have a movement scene. And currently, I think we're setting that in our mob factory. Yeah. So we're also going to set it in our movement factory for now. so that we can get that cleaned up. Okay, mob factory movement scene, we are going to say this is movement factory, not movement scene, to the movement scene. Yay! Okay, so we'll instantiate the movement scene. Yeah. Then we need to go into our spawner and find that logic that we're using currently to instantiate movement. And we're going to port all of that over into the movement logic. So this logic can stay here. Because this is us interacting with the movement objects. Ideally, we're going to be able to get rid of this too. But first things first, Mob Factory has what we're looking for. And we are going to go in, and we've got a create mob movement block right here. This is what we are going to copy over. Now we're going to toggle comment. Okay, we are going to be right back. Quick break. Gotta get up, move around, that kind of thing. But be right back. Couple minutes. Getting settled back in. We'll be starting in just a moment. Okay, we're back. Turbot might still be on the bed. There we are. Need the mob body to have it yet. Need a movement modifier factory too, but I don't think we're going to leave it in movement for now. Nope, we're making a movement modifier factory too. For a penny in for a pound. Let's go. Modifier factory, add that. It goes in globals. Create that, close that. Modifier factory. Create movement modifier. And that's going to accept a template. Say movement modifier template. And it's going to return a movement modifier. Pass. Gratuitously long listing there. Modifier, and it's going to return movement modifier. Movement modifier is equal to template dot movement modifier dot instantiate modifier speed. Modifiers have speed, right? Sworn I made them have speed. Speed. Just so. So we create it, we return it. It spits it out from the template. So now anytime we want to create a movement modifier, we use a template. Template, not movement. Template. Templates. Fire factory, movement factory. Fire templates. Instantiate. So we go through, we iterate over the collection of those templates and we add them. So this allows us to create the movement just like we were before. And then, so now we go into Mob Factory. So now we have create mob movement. So I'm going to say movement is equal to create mob movement is going to say a mob body and a movement template. Is a movement template. Factory, create movement from a movement template. And so it sets it to the mob body, movements body to move, right there. So the thing the mob body is contributing here is that it's creating the movement object. It doesn't actually need to be done here. We can move this to the spawner. Hey there, Uzi. Welcome. Movement. Mob template. Movement template. Seems excessive at this point, so we're just going to do that. We'll keep that. It's okay. So then in our spawner, spawner can keep the speed multiplier, but it doesn't need movement modifiers or movement modifier speed anymore. So we create the mob, and we append it. Then we mess with the mob's movement afterwards, where we update the targeting accordingly, and then we update its position. Okay. So we have random mob. It's going to be a movement modifier template called target random mob. Mob. Welcome to the broadcast, though, Uzi. How are you doing? Sorry if I was getting kind of in the zone, so a little slow to react. Random mob as a act scene with no base speed. A new resource, which is a movement modifier template, is going to be target random direction. Save. Target random direction. Targets random direction and doesn't move. Then resource modifier template is move straight line. Straight line has a default speed of 96, and we will adjust that in its speed multiplier. So then we go into homing mouse. Body, item giver. Let's see. New resource. Should be so naming hitch here. Most of them are like mob movement kind of thing. So, monster blob projectile this _ movement. We are just going to create it here. We can always rename it later. We're just going to say is a movement template. It is a movement template empty. It has no movement modifiers and a speed of 1. We're going to use that for any of the objects that doesn't move, which includes the player. The player moves differently currently. Hey there, Josh. Welcome, welcome. We have fixed most of our issues so far. We will see how many things we break heading in here. Item givers don't move, so an item giver template of empty movement. We're making a game. We're working on the part of the code that makes things move around. It has been. We're getting there. We're getting there. Object, it's a player, it's a projectile. Create new resource. Movement template. Create that, and it is a projectile mouse movement. Projectile mouse movement has this array, and it will have the random direction, random target, random mob, home to target, base target, move in straight line. Okay. Targeting. So We do random direction. Random mob. Face the target. Then move in straight line. Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate it. I stream about, well, I do a pair of streams. I stream about twice a day, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I try to get them scheduled in advance so that you can see them on my page. I also have a lot of shorts on the page, but I have been falling behind on that. Okay. Does it explode? It exploded. Okay. Okay, spawner factory. Doesn't have movement modifiers anymore. Still has position modifiers. These are going to have to go into the factory as well in some fashion. Hey there, 3. I'm doing well as well. Bubbles have spawned. A blob has spawned. Blob is not moving, though. Fire templates on movement modifier. The template is null. Okay, something. Oh. Okay. Go to the homing mouse. Targeting the homing mouse template needs the projectile homing mouse movement template. That's unfortunate, 3. That can be a tricky thing with game capture, is that some games don't play nice with recording software all the time. Something you have to try to figure out what's going wrong and work through it. Let's find a bubble here. We can set our weapon. Okay, they're not moving, but I think we can still get through this here. This is the first game, Josh. I'm learning how. I have programmed before extensively, but this is the first time I'm using this language or this engine, or really setting out to actually make a computer game. So we're going to look at our mob factory. It says create mob movement. Gives a body and a movement template. So we go into create mob movement. Okay, we're not attaching the movement to the mob body. Well, let's check. Mob body movement, it should attach it, right? Yeah. Adds the child. Pretty much, Josh. It is It is the cycle of life here. We make something, we break something, we fix something, we break something. Let's see if we can find Sammy. She may not be visible. She is not visible. Oh, actually, she is. She is. Look really closely once it loads. Do you see to the right of where Sherbet is? Once it loads again, there's a little darker spot on the black blanket on the bed. Yeah, we will eventually reach the point, Josh, where there are like actual monsters and weapons and the like. I recall you swinging through recently. The name is familiar. May have been in a comment or in one of the streams. I'm not sure specifically, but it is familiar. Give it a go there, 3. Movement factory. Movement scene. Instantiate a movement scene. Ah, okay. The working title, Josh, is Nyanite Survivors, but that's just a project title. Doesn't mean it will actually be that. Okay, therein lies the problem. This is not happening. It is supposed to happen. Well, create mob body, mob to spawn, which is the template. So we go into mob factory, create mob body. Mob comes into existence. Sets pool, modulation color. Don't need you. I'll create mob movement. We create the movement and get into here. The movement is a thing. Oh. This is another classic programming moment. We have a bug. We're trying to figure out what it is. And it's not clear, and we're looking at it and we realize, oh, that's really stupid. How did I miss that? In this case, I expected a template to return from this thing. There is no return function. I have not coded the function to expect to return, so it didn't show an error. But I was still setting it, assuming that I was returning something elsewhere. That's why it's not working. Let's see. 4 hours to live. Be worse. That's pretty good, 3. Turn movement. It returns a movement object. Okay, let's find that blob. It should be moving towards us now. Where are you hiding, little blob? Oh. Okay, well, that's still not working, but, you know, we fixed one problem. No. No, that's not where it's supposed to be returning it. This is where it should be setting it. We have a movement object. It has no body to move. It has a target. It has no movement modifiers. Okay. Into the movement factory. We go here. Template has no movement modifiers. Okay. Go in, we create a blob. Blob has come into existence. Template. Template has nothing. Did I not set this properly? Blob has blob movement. Blob movement as, well, that'd do it. So the blob isn't moving because it has no movement specified. Well, that might not entirely be the problem, but we're about to find out if it fixes it by fixing it. We'll target the player. It will face the player. And then it will move while avoiding monsters. Where are you at, blob friend? So you're totally moving around now, right? It is not. Collision zone, the body, the camera. Zoom out. Blob is there, not moving. Okay. Hey there, Godot. Welcome to the broadcast. Okay. Little guys still aren't moving. So we're going to go into this. We create a movement object. We're going to take a look at our movement template. This is the player template. So we unpause it. We create a blob. This should be the blob template. Blob has no movement modifier templates. Why is that the case? Haven't seen you pass through here, Godot. Which is as good an opportunity as any to check for the kitties again. Oh, hey, we can see Sammy now. We can fully see Sammy. We can see 4 of my 5 cats right now. We have Sky is the big gray fluffy one. Sammy is the tuxie. And Sherbet is the tan and white one napping on the pillow. And Ember is looking out the window. You can't see Mason. Mason could be on the close to the place where Sammy and Sherbet are. Could be at. Generally, he'd be close to where they are in some fashion. Ember can see something out the window. For those in widescreen view, let's zoom in a little bit. Come on. Kick this camera over. There she is. Ember can see some animal out the window. Okay, so the movement, the template object that is being passed in is does not contain the movement modifiers. In our movement template has nothing in it. Pause again. Movement template has nothing in it. Template. Oh, this one has something in it. Okay, this is the blob movement. Blob movement has something in it. Okay, the things that aren't moving are the bubbles. Okay, so this has movement. We go in and we're going to add template 3 times. So now we're going to look at our movement object. It has no body to move yet. Its movement modifier. Movement modifiers is 1 object. That doesn't seem right. That should be like an array or something. Movement object. Oh. Okay. That's a node. Okay, so now we're going to go into our movement factory again. It goes add movement template on movement. So we go into add movement template over here, and it adds a child node to it each time. So it has movement modifiers, and the movement object should be triggering movement here. So I'm going to disable the bubble spawner for now. So we need to go into our game object. And we're going to remove the giver spawner. We're going to go into movement move here. Just going to check our monitors, make sure we haven't missed anything here. Okay, we're not orphaning anything. Okay, so this is in movement modifiers, get children. Remote, core, game. We have no monsters yet, so we're just going to leave that alone. No monsters yet. This is the player function. We have a blob now. And remote. Body has movement. It's movement modifiers. Track, move, face, avoid. Body to move. Target has a I think you could crack the old game that isn't around anymore. Probably not, Kodo. That is a very that's a very particular skill set that varies based on what platform the game was made for, and often when the game was made. Because each different console has its special tricks, you know? If you're talking a PC game, there's the added layer of how that game interacts with the computer, because some old games try to interact with the computer in ways that don't exist anymore. Jump to here. Body to move. As a position. What is... Okay, it's like a full screen away. And its velocity is nothing after that. That's odd. Yeah, I don't have that skill set. There might, this channel and I do not endorse software piracy in any way, because that would be illegal, but I'm sure there are sites out there that would have access to it. Hypothetically. So what's going on here? Let's go into our chain of target player. It's targeting. And we're going to face target. And then we are going to it's a weird gray zone, Kodo. It's depending on what country you're in and how you go about doing it and how you do or do not make it available, it can end up being copyright infringement. It can also run into things like in the US, I'm actually not sure what the particular thing is called, but there's one that says if you circumvent copy protection, then that can be illegal. And in some cases, that copy protection includes things like you have to phone home, like call their servers that don't exist anymore. So it's a weird, fuzzy space. But if you're doing it for private purposes, it's you do what you do. It only becomes a problem when you massively distribute things. If you were doing it for yourself and making it available only to yourself, then Doesn't matter. Player, and then we've got move in a straight line. We are in target face target right now. And the target that's coming in is an object, which I expect is the player. And we're going to change direction to the target. So we get our target. So our local target is now the same as that target. So 4989 with no direction. 4989 with no direction. So then we're going to get direction to target. So our default direction is the local target direction. So nothing. And then our local target has a target object. So we're going to hop in here and we're going to get, we have our body to moves position right here. And we have a direction to target. That's wrong. Like, that is definitely wrong. Hey there, Wolf. Welcome. This is wrong. But how is it wrong? This seems weird. Oh, no, wait. There. Okay, we have a direction to target. We return the direction to target. Hop out. Direction to target, which is get direction to target. Why did that bail there? Oh, that was this was the calculate target one? No. Direction to target. Turns local target.copy. Well, there's part of our problem. Direction to target, and each time we call change direction to target. Target to target direction. Let's go again. Blob pops into existence. We're in target player where we get this. So by here, local target as the player entity. Okay. Pause, jump. This is face target. Hey there. Favorite game? It varies from time to time. I can tell you which games I'm playing right now. Do you mean of all time? Or do you mean like what am I playing most currently? Well, most currently, I've been playing a lot of Helldivers, but we're reaching a point with Helldivers where it's kind of set it down and wait for new stuff to happen. I'm really looking forward to EDF 6 right now, so I'm probably going to revisit a lot of that in EDF 5. I've played a great deal of Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter World, in particular, is great. Um, Monster Hunter Rise is good too, but it's not as good, in my opinion. uh, Most recently, there's a game out on Steam called Euden Chronicles. I think it's a weird opening sound. That is like a JRPG. It's definitely a love letter to a early PS1 game called Suikoden. Be Suikoden? I don't know. I don't know how those are fully pronounced, but it looks like Suikoden. Uh, which has been a lot of fun lately. Sadly, it's primarily a gamepad game. The key bindings for it are terrible. If I can figure out how to change them, then it might be better, but gamepads hurt my wrists. It was fixed, Drew. I found a new way to break it. Something about the way that I'm generating the movement templates right now is making them not move. Okay, so we're turning to face the target. The target is currently at 0, 0. The player is sitting at 0, 0. And the blob is sitting at 0, negative 21. This seems to be the default place that they appear. So we're calculating our target. The direction to target, which should be in local target now, is, yes, okay. It's, move down. So now we're moving, and we're going to update the direction to target, which is the local target, and it's saying kind of down. It's a little off because the body to move's position is probably not directly above. Yeah, it's a little off. Okay, so it moves down. It's moving that way. Now we're going to say, wait a minute. What's going on here? What's going on here? There's our blob movement. Blob movement has move, avoid monsters. Face target, target player. And sadly, that's where we're living here, Drew, is we don't know where that line of code is. And even when we identify it and we remove it and think, oh, we've put the right thing back, a new problem crops up. It's the circle of life. Hey there, Annabelle. Welcome. Why are we never getting to move, avoid monsters? This is the one I want to know why it's not moving. Do this. Oh. I didn't realize Ember had moved. Yep, we're coding, Annabelle. Let's switch over to the bed. We have a double there. Okay, we're calculating target and target player. That's pretty straightforward. Face target seems to be working. Okay, our body to move. There, what's our target? Target is in that direction. We're going to get our avoiding vector, which is our adjustment. Yeah. Say body to move's velocity. So we look at our body to move and its there's our problem. Speed is 1. Why is speed 0? There's our movement factory. The speed is being set to 0. That's tricky, Drew. As far as, like, it being intimidating, like it feeling like a threatening sort of oncoming force, I feel like the Crimson is better at that. As far as mechanical threat, like which ones are a bigger hassle to deal with, I would say that the Corruption is a bigger hassle to deal with, especially underground. Okay. Movement factory. Movement factory. We create the movement. We take each movement modifier and instantiate it. Movement dot speed. Okay, there's our problem. There's our problem. Movement needs a speed modifier. And movement modifiers. Target in a delta. Speed is being set where? Should still work. Void Monster's speed is 96, so if we're not setting it to the template in Movement Factory, yeah, I think here's our problem. So in Movement, add Movement. Add Movement template. We just attach a child, but the Movement template, the Movement modifier that we're creating never has its speed set. That's the problem. Movement modifier as a movement modifier. It's equal to movement modifier template dot movement modifier dot instantiate. Modifier dot speed is equal to template dot speed. Movement modifier template dot speed. Then we take movement modifier. We load that into add template. Add movement template, but that's not what it should be called. Add movement modifier. In we go, in we go. I can see that as far as movement difficulty. There we go. Blobs are moving again. All right, now the movement template. Hey there, Tamino. Plate, not speed. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, blobs should be moving half as fast as they were now. Yep. All right. All right. I have unbroken it again. Let's see if we can go for a triple. Thank you, Tamino. The studio that I got that I commissioned this through did an excellent job. I'm ever so pleased how this turned out. Okay. So the reason that everything stopped moving was that the speed multiplier wasn't being, or I'm sorry, the speed setting of the template wasn't being set, which meant it had a speed of 0. And because it had a speed of 0, it didn't move. So I've loaded that in, and then I'm applying the template speed modifier. Exactly, Tass. Dino, can I see what you did for your game? When did that? Doesn't seem to have come through. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that, Dino. 1 second. Oh, here, let's get a better example. We're going to say, where's my limiter? Hey there, Dana. Good to see you again. Okay, we're going to limit it to 300. We're going to go to our blob spawner. Blob spawner will spawn 10 times a second. Save that. Now we're going to go to our game object. We are going to restore the giver spawner. Just so. Okay, the number of creatures spawning. So we've got all the little blobs spawning. We can definitely handle a whole lot of blobs. Let's verify the mouse spawner should work now. It didn't work. Oh, it does work. I just have lingering breakpoints. Yep. So little projectile spawner is working. We still have some problem with blob overlap. And it looks like we're getting some frame rate loss. Let's look at our monitors here. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of frame rate loss at 300 entities. We technically have more than 300 entities because the object limit is being hit. Let's... Our entity count as int is equal to 0. Equals enemy object projectile object triple it. Put a limiter of 500 on it. All right, Dana. See you tomorrow then. Now, the number in the upper left will only be the number of mobs. Oh, that seems mildly disgusting, Bronzer. Our movement logic is taking a lot more toll than I thought it would here. Let's look at our monitors. Yeah, we're down to 30 FPS. I think we're going to have to come up with a processing limiter as well. Worst case, we might have to come up with an external kind of master movement control to further limit the cost of moving all those entities. Frame update. Physics process. We're only doing this once a frame. Int is equal to 0. Plus equals 1. Greater than 1. 0, 0. And move again. So this is, we require it to have every second frame. Now we're still seeing, we're still going to see some slowdown here pretty swiftly as we get more and more entities active and bouncing off of each other. So we're counting everything, the objects, the blobs, and the projectiles for the limitations, but we're not showing it in the upper left, which is, it makes it harder to gauge how many things we have, but we've put a limiter of 500. So once things start to reach equilibrium there, that's plummeting now. So let's say every third frame. Just going to do some performance testing here towards the end of the process. Everybody will get to see the little blob monsters. Grab a bunch of these little guys here. Every one of these bubbles increases the number of these little mouse things that fly out. This is not an end state. This is just debugging stuff. Okay, every third frame, they still seem to be moving cleanly. That cost us some performance looking away, but... yeah, looking away gave us a little bit of a hit there. But we look back, we keep going. Now it's sped back up. Yeah. Looking away is costing it a little bit as it works with the monitors and whatnot. It catches back up once we refocus it. So yeah, this is with about 500 entities on screen at once. Now let's do... we're going to do this at every fourth frame. Now we're going to get more aberrations in their movement with this kind of thing. But I mean, we're getting like 60 frames a second, so saying every fourth frame is still really fast. So, like, we could even further mess with this. Float is equal to 0.0 seconds passed plus equals delta. Seconds passed is greater than or equal to 0.6. So about a tenth of a second. I'm sorry, no, 0.1. So every tenth of a second, we will set this. So 10 times a second. Moving way slower than I would think. Oh, I know why, too. In all cases, this is why it was going wrong. Movement's a bit choppier. But we can see that my performance has increased dramatically since the change there. We've got 500 things on in process, 500 animated entities moving and colliding with each other, and we're holding at 60 frames a second because I'm only checking for them to move. Oh, wow. Well, that was pretty lurchy there. Oh. So we're going to need to find a way to smooth their movement a little bit. What I think we need to do is change the rate at which it calculates the movement versus when it moves them. So instead of having physics process in here, we're gonna move our limiters into this. So this is going to move here for a moment. And we're going to move all of this into this. So the upper cat is Sammy. The lower cat there is Sherbet. See how many others we can see. The big gray fluffy one is Sky. The little multicolored one, the diluted, is Ember. And you can't see Mason, the fifth one. It is unclear where he is right now. He's usually on the same bed where Sherbet and Sammy are, but off camera. Okay, we're only going to recalculate the movement every 10th of a second. Not quite what I want. So we want to move by delta each time. This will be a delta based on seconds passed. Okay. All right. So it's not delta. Let's see here. So it'll be bar last seconds passed. Sorry. To awkward name, but 2.0. So last undeltaed velocity is going to be where we go in and we say, okay, so this is if, and we're going to move it based on that. And we're going to say last undeltaed velocity is equal to body to move velocity divided by seconds passed. Because all movement will be affected by this. So this is our last undeltaed velocity. Get rid of test move. We don't actually do test move anymore. So else, we're going to use last undelted velocity times delta. And comment this, that here, and we're going to use seconds passed for the delta. This should make them continue to drift in the same direction they originally did for all. Oh, no. Just makes them not move. Ah. I wasn't passing in delta. I think we're doing pretty good so far. We're going to hit 500 soon. We have no orphan nodes. We have lots of things being created. We go into spawner. We're going to go to our limiter here. Where is it at? There we go. $750. 50% increase. Okay, we're getting some weird aberrations when I run through this stuff. Like, I'm getting lurches of speed now and again running through this. We're going to have to find out what's going on there. The player's velocity is getting messed up, and I think I have some thoughts on what might be doing it. But yeah, let's let everything accumulate again. So let's try, we're going to go up to 750 entities on screen at a time. And see what our FPS is. 750 is unnecessary for our purposes, but it's a good stress test. Okay, it's tanking at around 700. That's with a whole lot of things on screen colliding. All right, at 750, it kind of tanks. So if we drop it back to 500, and we get our physics glitch right there. Get to our 500 objects. Okay, we're sitting at 60 frames a second with 500 things on screen at once. Well, 500 entities being tracked. This is feeling pretty good performance-wise. There are other areas that we could do that. But yeah, I think if we can do this, then performance is sufficient for now to continue on, don't you? Good times. All right then. Boop. That's about where we're going to wrap it up tonight, folks. So we fixed several iterations of the same general movement problems that manifested in multiple different ways, but ultimately it was a series of refactors that resulted in ever cleaner design. We went from having a stacked series of objects to now having a stacked series of templates that we can enter into other places so that we can reference them more cleanly throughout the code. That's going to pay dividends later when we start getting our kind of composite customizable weapon setup going. Because with enemies, it's relatively easy to just make a single reference to an enemy in a file and say, oh, it's the blob enemy. Use 10 blob enemies and then move on to the next step. But what we want here, ultimately what we want to get to, is the ability to essentially socket modifiers into a weapon to change its behavior. So then that when you get power-ups, the decision is not which weapon do I want to give one level to? It's which weapon do I want to make homing, or which weapon do I want to add an extra count to? That kind of thing. I think that could be fun. We'll see how it plays out when it is functional. But even if that pattern doesn't work, what we're building works even if we do the standard, like Vampire Survivors style. It just levels up and it just gets different changes at fixed intervals. That will still work with this without really having burned ourselves in any way. All right, but we are done here. If you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help content like this show up in your feed more often. We are going to be streaming again tomorrow. We should be doing more programming. I hope to put a Paynes Creek killings stream in the at around noon again. That should happen, but I haven't confirmed that part of my schedule yet. So again, I hope you all had a good time, and I do hope to see you next time.